People describe Northumberland in many different ways because it's such a varied landscape. Some people call Northumberland the land of the far horizons because sometimes you feel you can see forever. Other people call Northumberland Britain's last great wilderness because it seems like there's just miles and miles and miles of land that unfold in front of people. But within those miles and miles of land, there are many hidden gems. Whether that's some of the cleanest rivers in the country, darkest skies, the interaction between rich cultural traditions of hill farming, of local dialect, music. You've got a really rich tapestry, which is what we, as human beings, call landscape.
In my childhood, we used to come here a lot. In my teenage years, my father taught us rock climbing just here near the Sill at Craglough and other places in the national park, but this was a particular favourite of ours. What I have seen since then is the massive change in the number of wildflowers, birds, and just general wilderness around the area. That's happened in my lifetime.
At the moment, we have a nature crisis. We have a climate crisis. And we actually have a crisis of well-being. These are things which the landscape in general, but the Hadrian's Wall landscape in particular, can help us with. Hadrian's Wall is the most visited part of the national park. It's where land management comes into really sharp focus because it butts up against very heavy visitor use, the expectations of local farming communities, visitors who want to see cultural rich archaeology, others who want to see wildlife. All those pressures in one place can make for a heady mix. But I see that as an opportunity. We can restore nature. We can take action on climate change whilst we restore nature. And actually we can restore people by getting them involved.
About 4 years ago, we at the foundation were looking for partners in order to try and do some nature restoration and rewilding work in Northumberland. To start a project which would be an exemplar in the county as to what we could do to restore nature to these very beautiful places.
The Hadrian's Wall Recovering Nature project is all about finding a way to manage land in a way that enhances nature. The project is centred on Greenlee and Stonefolds, which is 200 hectares of land that the National Park owns. This also includes Greenlee Lough, which is the largest natural water body in Northumberland. The wider project, though, wants to work across the whole of the Hawkwhistle Burn catchment. This is an area of over 5,000 hectares. Working with the farmers and land managers in this area is the key to success of this project. By working together effectively, we will achieve change at a landscape scale. So we're going to be restoring the peatland in this area. We're going to be looking at renaturalising watercourses. We'll also be planting trees and encouraging scrub in areas. All of this is going to result in a more resilient landscape and one that is thriving with nature for generations to come.
The nature cover is a really important issue. The UK is the most biodiversity depleted country in Europe. So we've got a really big job now to try and reverse that decline and make sure that nature can be there and be sustained for future generations to enjoy. This project's really important because it enables us to understand how such a sensitive wetland area functions and what we can do to bring nature back for this landscape.
This project fits completely with Natural England's aims and objectives. Key to that is improving habitats at a landscape scale, basing our decisions in evidence and knowledge, and connecting people with the outcomes of that. Natural England is really keen to support the project going forward and to really make a difference on the ground with local people.
It's about the connection between people and nature. And it's so important, not just for people's well-being, not just for the well-being of iconic species and habitats, but it's also about how we connect ourselves and place ourselves as part of the story.
We know that farming and tourism and all of those things will happen in this area, as they have done for years and will continue. But for once, we really want to focus on nature and wildlife. And so there will be restoration of all the landscapes around the habitats, the reed beds, the woodlands, linking with farmers and other landowners who can actually help extend the importance of those landscapes for a whole range of wildlife.
Our farm is a hill farm comprising of nearly 600 acres. I'm the third generation to be here. We are a business, so firstly you've got to make money. But if that can coincide with managing the farm in a way that improves the environment, it's a win-win for everybody.
My role as the ecologist in the project is to look at the habitats and species and do some of the monitoring and point out what's really important on the site. What I'm looking for are habitats that are rare or unusual, species that we might not have recorded before.
In 30 years' time, I want to be seeing an enhanced, expanded area of fen. I want to be seeing peatlands that are wet and thriving and sequestering carbon and have habitats that are good for ground nesting birds. I want to see some of the scrub that started already in some of the areas really finding its place in the landscape and creating niche habitats that can sustain a wider variety of birds. And if we can make little changes and return natural processes, the monitoring work we're doing will hopefully show that those things are then interacting and really the landscape is thriving above ground but also below ground. And it's an amazing place for people to come and visit and understand that.
So when I'm looking to the future now, and I see it changing, it's starting, we can help accelerate that change, bring nature back to where it should be, which should be a fundamental and essential part of our lives.
In the past 7 years, Northumberland National Park has led the development of the Sill National Landscape Discovery Centre. The whole aim of the project was to engage more and different people with landscape. The Hadrian's Wall Recovery Nature Area is a stone's throw from the Sill. It gives us an incredible opportunity to create a shop window for nature recovery, to get people close to and hands-on nature recovery so that they can not just hear about it, they can see it, they can understand it, they can feel ownership of it. If it helps move the nature recovery agenda forward one step, then I'm happy to be part of that step.